Hey everyone, and welcome to another Sunday stream of Fellowship of Fans. We have an exciting one today. We have some special guests tuning in, so look forward to that. But as always, we'll start with the panel. We have Webcrawler joining us. How you doing, Webcrawler?
Hello, good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you. And with us, returning yet again, we have Dune Aiden. How you doing?
Oh, I'm back. I'm here. I drove all night just to get here for this stream. I'm stoked. I'm ready to talk about this with someone.
Yes. And the chat's pretty active right now. Saying hi here. We got Drew in the chat. TV Girl says, Sebastian, Storyteller. Glad to see you, Storyteller. Howlith, Northy. Great seeing you all. So yeah, we have a couple of topics to talk about today. The exciting one being set leaks for season 3. So we're going to dive into those, theorize, etc. We'll also talk briefly about Tales of the Shire. I believe there was some news, some small news for Hunt for Gollum. And we'll see what else. We'll see where our tangents take us as well. And for some bookkeeping in the front end here, we at Fellowship have been doing a Wheel of Time rewatch podcast. So anyone who's interested in Wheel of Time, it's been pretty interesting. It's mainly covered by Strider, who has seen the episodes previously, and it's a rewatch for him. And I've been joining as a newbie, so I haven't seen any of the episodes, and it's been pretty interesting getting to know that new world. So yeah, we have that going on. I believe we have some videos planned to be releasing within the next week or so. That could be pretty exciting as well. So quick teaser there. But yes, without further ado, let's jump into our first topic here. And 1 second while I bring in a special guest.
Hello.
Hey.
Can you guys hear me?
Is that Harry?
Yeah.
Harry,
Hello,
where
Where are you?
I'm currently in lovely Great Windsor Park with my dog
Wow.
on a walk. And of course, I don't want to get into too much trouble, but because this is literally, as I say, a 2 minute from my house, as you can see now. If you just give me one moment. In the distance, you're starting to see the tent and the studio set for the Rings of Power Season 3. It's right bang in the middle of the park. And of course, this is allowed here because it's a pedestrian walkway in a pedestrian park. But yes, this is how far I will get without there are people there. So I want to respect the boundaries and security and everything. So, but as you can see, this is a tent this tent was used in Season 2, which had orcs and elves in it, which is quite interesting. So as you can see across, it's a massive tent going across. And yeah, it's really great that it's so close to home as well. And they're going to be filming here for 3 whole weeks. So it's going to be quite a massive shooting that they're going to be doing here. As you can see further on. So if I just...
Seems like it's pretty windy out here.
Yeah, good. I hope you guys could hear me. Really. But
We can hear you.
yeah, cool. So that's pretty cool. And if you see on that side as well, you can see more of the set and studio. You can see it's right bang in the middle of the park. So yeah, pretty cool. And actually, funnily enough, right across the other side of this forest here, this little bit of wood, is where that campment set is as well. It's actually right in these woods. But I don't know how much I can go in without getting told off for copyright. So this is the furthest, I guess, on stream will be allowed to go. But yeah, this is the set. My dog Gimli is very happy. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of shooting here over the next few weeks. So the good thing is we'll be keeping up to date with everything that's going on here. I do know, though, as an update, that we know elves are here. There's also going to be Numenorian shooting here in the next few days as well. And it can be, for example, different where one side, like over here, can be for like the Elven camps in Middle Earth, and then the Numenorian set over here could, for example, be, you know, somewhere in, you know, the outside of Armanelos or the countryside. So it doesn't mean that the elves and Numenorians are together straight away per se, like on a camp, but it could mean that. All we know is that there's going to be Numenorians here at Great Winter Park in the next days. And yeah, we'll keep everyone updated. One final bit of news as well, excited to share, is that next Sunday will be the return of the second Age show for season 3, which is of course our show for Scoop. So we're excited to kick it off again for the final season. We will see you there next Sunday, this same time. Yeah, I think very, very exciting pieces of news and updates over the next few weeks.
Awesome.
Well,
I hope
appreciate you being out in the trenches for us.
Yeah.
Harry's out there doing investigative journalism. He's been hiding up in a tree all night. He's actually not supposed to be in there at all.
Literally is. It's like, I feel like a one day when he was looking over Adar's camp in season 2.
Yeah.
But, of course, but for legal reasons, I have not been camping in a tent or in a tree, despite the humor of it all. But yeah, no, it's all funny games. So yeah,
That's
happy
awesome.
to report that so far. Hopefully, we'll get more updates over the coming days.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Sounds good. And I will let you guys discuss the set, which is literally right behind these trees. So yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
it looks like
See you guys.
Fanghorn Forest over there.
Yeah, text us when you get home safe so we know that you didn't get nabbed.
All right. See ya.
All right. That's amazing.
Wow.
That's cool.
I love that.
So sometimes we get leaks submitted to us, other times we become the leaks ourselves. Wow, that is pretty cool. Yeah, so we have a lot now to talk about. We have Harry being basically on set right now, which is crazy. And to reiterate, just so he doesn't have any legal troubles, it is in a public space, so he's able to walk his dog. So I guess anyone else in the UK, if you use that walking path, you might stumble upon Middle Earth. Another thing that, while it was windy, it may not have caught it, but he did say that the Second Age show is coming back. I think he said next Sunday or next week. And with that comes new scoops and exclusives. So be excited for that, and more to come there. But yeah, so Harry took some photos, which I'll try to pull up on the screen at some point. But the best photos we got were actually submitted on Reddit. So I'm going to go to a couple of those now, and I'll give credit where I can. But I know Khalil from our Discord has found a couple images in the past, and I believe he made the post. But yes, we have here. Okay, here we go. Here's the right one. Here's one of the Reddit posts. So here, it looks like we have some interesting things. I'll kick it over to Dunedin, Aiden. What do you see in here?
So yeah, I was there were a few photos that were going around a week or two ago, and there was a couch cushion or something that people were saying had the sigil of Gil-galad, which I was like, yeah, I guess I could see it, but I wasn't completely sure because we've had a few run-ins in the past with set photos from The Witcher being confused for Rings of Power. So every time you just see a random set photo in the wild, it's always kind of hard to verify whether it's true. But the good news is now is that this is 100% verified. This is the Rings of Power set. And in this image, you can't see it super well on this screen, but that banner, I think, makes it much more clear than the little couch cushion we got before. Is you can clearly see Gil-galad's banner there. So it looks like the elves are gearing up for war, or in the middle of war. So I'm guessing this is going to be, based on what we've heard about the duration of how long they're going to be filming there, I imagine this will probably be a pretty substantial set piece in the season. I imagine there's probably going to be a couple different scenes across multiple episodes that take place within this set, and that's probably just going to be their main base of operations and kind of where they plan and proselyte their war from.
Well said, well said. And to give credit real quick, I'm just gonna. It looks like Unfair Ebb posted this one, this grouping of photos on the Lord of the Rings on Prime Reddit. So credit there. Looks like we have some photos of potential carts, more tents. Oh, there's the banner, a couple banners in the background. This one's similar photo. And I'm going to switch over now to a next grouping of leak photos. So this one's from Khalil Moon on Reddit. These are pretty clear photos, which is pretty great as well. But yeah, it looks like we definitely have a lot of tents here.
Mm-hmm.
Someone wasn't minding their cartwheels. Had to throw in that joke.
It looks like the elves have developed red plastic material. It's probably mithril infused.
Nice.
Yes. We'll have to see how they utilize those siege weapons that are orange.
I like how the tents have like sort of a sigil at the bottom, and then it like lines up as like looking like a spear almost. And so yeah,
Ooh.
that kind of makes me think it is Gil-galad's camp or Gil-galad's elven army, since he's known for having the spear of Aeglos and whatnot.
That's a good catch, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great catch. I didn't even see that. Awesome. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, clear photos of those designs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Originally, when I saw this, I thought it might be a Numenorian encampment because some of the woodwork and barrels and stuff looked kind of shoddy. But I mean, the more we see of it, I think it is pretty clearly an elven encampment. Although, with what Harry has said that they're going to be using the same area to film a Numenorian encampment later on, some of these barrels and carts and things that I saw could be props that are just set aside for when they set up the Numenorian encampment. I mean, we don't know what's going to be in frame. They could just have all that stuff sitting out there. I mean, even just looking in these photos we've got, a lot of it just looks like it's set up in staging, but not necessarily
for the
decorated.
Scene. Yeah.
So I think that could be where I'm seeing some of the Numenorian influence, but it also could be if the elves and Numenorians do end up teaming up this season, could be a clash of both. Maybe they both set up their camps in the same spot.
I mean, I like the little wooden, they kind of look like barricades almost that they've just kind of set up around the camp. And I don't know if that's going to be part of the scene or if they just have them there for another part.
What I was thinking, oh man, my mouse isn't showing. What the heck? Are those sword racks or spear racks next to each tent?
It could very well be.
Yeah, could be.
That's the main thing I'm waiting to see. I really want to get a set photo of actors walking around. I want to see.
They haven't put the weapons out yet.
There was one set photo. I don't know if we have it, but somebody got a photo of a bunch of elven shields laying on the ground. Yeah, see, look at this. This definitely looks like it's being set up for staging. I don't think this is how it's going to look. So
yeah, it's a lot of barrels.
Okay, this was it. This is what I was talking about. I guess it wasn't so much a couch cushion, but you've got those chairs that are kind of set up. It looks like they're stacked one on top of the other. Mm-hmm. There's a little green circle on the far right one. You can see his mouse right there. If you zoom into that, there was something that people was saying was Gil-galad's crest, which I could see being his crest, but I wasn't positive. But yeah, now with that banner being released, I think it definitely is Gil-galad's crest.
Yeah, and the designs are very intricate on these chairs. They definitely look like elven chairs, benches, or something of that level.
Yeah, I mean, TV Girl just pointed out they do definitely seem like war council chairs, so I could easily see this being the
You've
the tent where they're doing a lot of war planning. I mean, you've got that like lamp post right there.
mhm,
The
yeah,
vibes I'm getting from this, you know what it's giving is the uh, Theoden's tent,
yeah. Theoden's camp in Return of the
where
King.
all the other tents were just kind of like set up and just bare bones, but then you go into Theoden's tent and the floor is covered with animal pelts and it's all nice and fancy. Like that's kind of what the vibes are given here. Like this is the tent for the king and his counselors.
His 4
Yeah.
commanders. Yeah.
Hmm.
It also makes me wonder if it's not just like a military camp, but could also potentially be like, people who are fleeing from orc forces, like a refugee camp, almost like a mix of
Hmm.
the two. That you can find safe haven here among the army, but we'll have to see more as filming develops to get a better sense of what's happening here.
The thing I'm curious about is I think that there's going to be two fronts to the war, or at least two bases of operation. I think Imladris, Rivendell, is going to be one, and it'll be this war camp. So I'm curious if Gil-galad is actually even going to be in this camp, or if Elrond, as his commander, is still going to be out fighting on his behalf. So maybe Elrond is out in the camp leading the battle, and Gil-galad is back in Imladris holding the councils there. Or it could be vice versa. I don't know.
Yeah, because my understanding was that Rivendell for a long time was kind of kept a secret. I mean, I would have to read up again to make sure, but I always thought that Rivendell was like hidden, almost like Gondolin in a way.
I think there was an attack on it during the War of Elves and Sauron, but it was never destroyed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the battle actually got to Imladris or if it was just in the mouth of the valley or something.
True. I mean, I would prefer to see Gil-galad fighting again because his fighting scenes in season 2 were pretty awesome, and would love to see Gil-galad kick some more butt.
Mm-hmm. You know, actually, now that I'm thinking of it, I actually would put my bet on Gil-galad running the camp here, because I saw this fan theory going around on the internet, and I kind of really like the idea of it more. The more I think of it, the more I enjoy it, which is Elrond and Galadriel will be sent in opposite directions this season. Is that they're going to send Elrond out to Numenor to try and recruit the Numenorians, because he has ties to Elros, and they think that he might be the only one who can actually talk sense into them. And Galadriel is going to be sent east, maybe to the Greenwood to recruit forces there. Maybe she'll pass through Khazad-dûm like she does in the history, and that could be where she encounters Celeborn if he is indeed going to be in this season. I think if they're going to cross paths, it's either he's going to have to go out to the warfront or she's going to have to leave, and I could easily see her going out and doing something, and maybe even running into Lothlorien along the way.
Yeah, no, because it doesn't make sense for them all to just sit around in Rivendell planning. They've got to be out there in the action. So I think sending them out each to different locations and then bringing them back at the end of the season, maybe for a battle or a war or front or something like that, is probably the arc that they're going to go with.
Yeah, that's great points. One thing I want to say, small funny thing. You remember, I don't know, it was season 1. Yeah, season 1, I believe, where like the leak came out for or not even a leak, but the press came out for Celebrimbor's chair, and how much like theorizing went over the lounge chair or whatever it was called.
Yes,
I don't remember this.
the Chase Lounge. Yeah,
The Chase Lounge. It's like, what if we get that level with these chairs here?
that would be.
I missed this. I wasn't really online during season 1. I don't even remember Celebrimbor having a chair.
It was like in the back of his set
Yeah.
in episode 2. Like you saw like a glimpse of it, and people just went nuts. Yeah, it was hilarious.
The amount of coverage, you would think it'd be like a main character or something, and you barely see it.
I mean, I'm sure that there's always things like that you spend so much time theorizing about, and I mean, even
I've
just
seen-
there were things like that in season 2 as well. I know one of the big ones, although this was a little different because it was worth theorizing about, but even just Anatar in Eregion. Like, remember there were so many theories about how he's going to trick them into thinking he's someone different. And then the show comes out and he literally is just like, no, yeah, I am Halbrand, but I'm also someone else.
Yeah, no, they do take a simpler path to a lot of these things. Like they
Yeah.
just go straight forward with it. There's not a lot of like too much subversion or confusion. So I kind of like that.
And I feel like this photo has some more secrets because you can see to the left here, there's a blue hoodie hanging up. So that must be a sign that there's going to be a blue wizard.
Wait, you might actually be onto something here.
Maybe that's not a lamp. That's the wizard staff.
I told you, remember my theory? I don't know if I said this on here, but season 2 is going to cold open with the stranger going, Gandalf. That's what they're going to call me, isn't it? And Tom Bombadil's going to go, no, that's another guy. Your name is, and then he's going to go back and be a blue wizard.
Nice. What's actually kind of crazy though, speaking of wizards, it's hard to see. I tried to zoom in, but I wasn't able to download the photo in time. Over here, this material looks similar to the material that the stranger was wearing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be curious. I mean, there's a sweatshirt hanging up. Maybe this is just a blanket or something covering the props, but
that's what I think it is.
Actually, this is something I haven't even thought about until now. Because here's the other thing. They film out of order. When you film a series, like they could be filming the very last episode right now. We'd have no way of knowing. And one thing I think is going to happen in this season, because it happens pretty much around this time in the lore, is the first White Council is formed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this could be the moment at the end of the season where Gandalf finally joins up with the rest of the main cast and is no longer disconnected from the plot, but is now involved. And that is when they have the first White Council. It's all the leaders gather together, Gandalf included, and they have their first big meeting.
Well, we're going to need our investigative journalists to keep an eye out on if Daniel Wayman ends up on this set in the next few weeks. Then we might have some confirmation.
I just got another video from Harry. The screen was all blurry and like it looked like he was being dragged away, but I don't know.
Wow. All right, yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. So yeah, I wish I could zoom in more, but that material looks awfully familiar. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's so hard because it could also just be a cast member's like shawl or something.
Yeah, it could just be a covering to protect those things from the rain or the who knows.
Trying to see if we see any little details in any of these. Might have missed.
This cauldron looks interesting though.
Mm-hmm. See, a lot of this stuff looks very Numenorian. Like you've got that net board there. That looks very much like something you use to like pan in the river or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I think that's used for washing clothes, actually.
Oh yeah.
Could be a grill. Who knows?
But some of this stuff, like look at the woodwork. Like some of this stuff just looks so shoddy and like, yeah. I mean, the elves are in a time of war, so like maybe they don't have like. I could see an argument being made for it. If the elven encampment is kind of shabby, I could easily see them being like, well, the elves don't really have time to pour light and beauty into their creations because they're building for war. But also, it just feels very much like everything the elves do is always very elegant. So,
Northy just said, "Is Eowyn making some stew?"
Oh my god!
We'll keep Harry away from that stew. You keep him alive.
Keep Gilgalad away from that stew.
Eowyn's origins.
Man, now that you say it looks shoddy, like I'm kind of in agreement. Like I'm wondering, like, could there be a storyline where the people from Pelargir somehow meet up with this camp? I mean, that's probably pretty far on the map.
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with Pelargir. I haven't quite been able to settle on a theory of what I think is gonna happen with them, but I think they're probably gonna become cannon fodder in Sauron's army, unfortunately.
Yeah, probably. I agree. Cannon fodder, a little bit of an uprising against Kemen and the other Numenorian overlords in Pelorgir.
Otaku Senpai mentions that the term used this time was Councils of the Wise. Maybe. I feel like I remember reading in the appendices before a while back of like trying to get a feel for events that were happening this time period, and I feel like the appendices specifically listed the first meeting of the White Council was held, but maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to go back and reread it, but I wrote down a list of a bunch of things that do take place during this stretch that I thought would encompass the show. I can try to pull it up real quick.
Do we have more pictures of the sets, or
I can go back to some of the. I think these might have been from Harry himself, or should I say, a spy in our midst. But his are more farther away, so it's harder to make out much.
Mhm.
It looks like we've got some large vases, some sort there. 10. Let's see what else we got. Share this.
Okay, so I found some other ones. Apparently, during this time period, Elrond is also given Vilya.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. I could also see the show waiting until
before the
spoilers,
last lines?
until
Yeah.
the very end. I could see Gil-galad giving it to Elrond towards the end of the series during a crucial moment. But
Like maybe before the last alliance battle, just as a keep safe type of thing.
or even on the battlefield as he's, I don't know. I could see any just sort of dramatic narrative, but the ring wraiths are also supposed to start appearing during this time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And there's 9 rings to give out.
Yep. So I think that could very well happen.
Ooh, it's hard to see in this photo. I wish I could zoom in. There's actually a line running from towards the beginning of the set into the trees.
Yeah, I see that. There's a thin line.
I wonder if they're doing some like crane shots or
Acrobatics.
Ooh.
Nazgul flying in. I don't know. Nazgul.
I do know that Harry was saying they've got a giant light up in the sky that kind of looks like the Eye of Sauron. So
Oh yeah. So maybe some night scenes are being filmed as well.
Oh, I'll see if I can pull up that photo if I can find it quickly.
I think it was
he
a
posted
video that he posted on Twitter.
Oh. Let's see here.
yeah,
Okay.
I think TV Roll's right. I think it could be a dolly track. A lot of times with these sets, they'll build out tracks for their cameras to slide along. Oh yeah. You can see it. The Eye of Sauron.
I guess if you're trying to find Rings of Power sets, just look for the Eye of Sauron in the wilderness. Wow.
That's crazy though. They're filming right next to his house. Like,
Yeah.
What are the odds? It's crazy. I wish, I don't know if any of you, like, we do a slight tangent, had any filming in your like respective towns. I can say like I'm from Connecticut and we've had a couple of movies, nothing really close to me, but I know they filmed one of the I'm drawing a blank. It's Harrison Ford. How could I forget this character? Temple of Doom, blah blah blah. Indiana Jones. Yes.
Nice.
Jeez. I think it was the one that had Shia LaBeouf in it. But I believe they filmed in Connecticut down near Yale. We've had a couple of other movies, but nothing crazy here.
There's been a lot of movies that have filmed in my state, but all the ones that come to film here usually film super far to the south. Although the high school where they filmed High School Musical is like 20 minutes away from where I live.
So when I lived in Toronto as a kid, they filmed Lindsay Lohan's Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen at our high school.
Wow.
in our high school auditorium. They cut up the carpets, and that left our school administrators mad.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then the university I went to in Toronto also they filmed the remake of Total Recall with Colin Farrell there, and
Oh.
one of the Resident Evil movies. I can't remember which.
Nice.
Wow. Pretty cool.
I did see Saint Sir Nicholas talk about when Galadriel will get her own country. I think that, again, I'm going off of my theory here. I think that this will be the season where we're introduced to Lothlorien.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be more. Again, I do like the idea that Galadriel and Celeborn reunite there. I think that adds a lot more symbolism to that area. It would make more sense if that's why they settle there. It becomes a more important piece of their history.
Right.
I don't personally see Lothlorien becoming an actual kingdom until maybe the epilogue of season 5, because Rivendell, it makes sense why they're making it now, is because they need a bastion. They need somewhere to shore up and defend, and they don't really have a lot of options anymore. But Lothlorien was never really made as a fortress or a
No.
place of strength. So I don't know if they will build it up. Maybe in a time skip, I could see maybe when the Numenorians come over and start building Minas Tirith and Gondor and all those places, maybe you could also have Lothlorien get built. Because I could see that maybe after the fall of Numenor, when Sauron loses his fair form, maybe he's gone for a couple years, and people start to wonder if maybe he's gone for good. You could even have a little bit of kind of the same vibes from season 1, where some people are like, is he gone? Is he coming back? But I imagine that people will probably still be more wary, because they're like, well, he didn't die last time, so he's probably not dead this time. But it'll probably still be a long enough period that they'll have time to build Gondor, because Gondor needs to get built. The show can't end without the kingdom of Gondor being established.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're doing a time jump at the beginning of season 3, I think they'll do more time jumps in future seasons, and so they'll give them room to build up those cities and settlements. With regards to Lorien, I know it was called Lorinand before Galadriel and Celeborn got there, so I feel like it could exist in some capacity right now, just like a hidden village of elves near the Fanghorn Forest. That, I don't know, maybe they've stayed hidden from even the Noldor, or something like that, and Galadriel just stumbles upon it. That could be one way they do it. The bigger question is how, if in fact they do introduce Celeborn into the story in this season, how they do it, because that is probably the big, does he come back like Glorfindel? Does he have amnesia and he's just living in Lorinand without any care in the world? There's too many options, and we have almost nothing to go by at this point.
I know, I'm really trying hard to trust the process here. I've made it transparent in the past that I struggle with this plot line and the decision to exclude Celeborn. I haven't yet been able to rationalize it, but the showrunners completely made a fool of me, because I was really against the whole Halbrand storyline, and they delivered. I think they actually did an incredible job of making a very compelling and interesting narrative for Halbrand into Anatar. That was something that I left season 1 being like, how are they going to do the Forging of the Rings? Because Sauron just got kicked out. They know who he is. This suck. And they turned it around, and I couldn't have predicted it. I mean, I'm not a professional writer, so it would make sense that other people are getting paid a lot more to sit down and think of these and come up with stories. So I will be cautiously optimistic. I'll trust the process and hope that there is a sensible reason for Celeborn to be gone. But yeah, I mean,
He's too OP. That's why they had to keep him out of the story. Right? If he was there, Eregion would have been saved. The rings would have never been made. I don't know. Yeah, no, it's an interesting decision that they made. It definitely has had some effects, but I feel like as the seasons have progressed, season 1 and season 2, they've started to sort of bring it back in line with what we kind of expect from the lore. Like, Gil-galad going into war mode. This picture here, you can see Galadriel is more of a Lady of Light figure now. Elrond, he's going to be establishing Rivendell. So I think going forward now is when we can expect that things are going to be aligning towards a bit more of a canon structure. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I f-
Go on.
Oh, one thing I feel like there's going to be a lot of stress on that reunion episode of Galadriel and Celeborn. Like that's got to be an emotional gut punch. I feel like if you think like your loved one's been gone, potentially dead. I mean, she doesn't say that necessarily. She says he's been like lost, but like that has to be a really powerful reunion. It's like how do you do that in a powerful way? Like is it going to be like a heat of battle? They find each other. It's going to be some like beautiful soft moment where they somehow stumble upon each other. Like how are you going to pull this off in a way that's just like powerful for the viewer?
They're already way behind on that account. She has mentioned Celeborn once. They need to she didn't talk about him at all last season. She talked about him in one conversation in season 1
with Theo.
If they reunite as it stands now, there will be no emotional gut punch because these characters haven't talked about each other. I mean, I think even if, let's say, Celeborn is cast for season 3, and even if it is held as this big secret where they don't announce the cast, which I don't see happening. I think that if someone is cast as Celeborn, especially if it's Jamie Campbell Bower, as everybody keeps theorizing, I think that will be an official announcement from Amazon at some point to build hype up until the next season. But even if they didn't, you will know from the beginning, the first episode of season 1, whether they're going to do Celeborn or not, because if they don't mention it, it's not a part of the narrative. It's just going to fall flat because as it stands now, I have no the only motivation I have to want to see these characters interact again is because I know that they're supposed to at some point. It's like, all right, when is this going to happen? But from a viewer standpoint, I mean, I know online there's a lot of viewers who only like Rings of Power. Some people don't really care as much for the expanded universe or Peter Jackson movies. They're just Rings of Power first fans. They don't have any interest in Celeborn. How are you gonna win them away from the Galadriel Sauron storyline and chemistry that's building if there's no development for Celeborn? There's no reason to care about him.
I will add a point to that in that in season 1 there was a lot of criticism with regards to Celebrimbor. You hardly kind of saw him in season 1. He had a couple of scenes. He seemed a bit erratic. People had mixed feelings about how Celebrimbor was being portrayed and how the storyline was developing, and how we wouldn't care when the rings were made or when he gets betrayed by Sauron and all of that happens. And then season 2 came, and the showrunners, the writers, they were able to craft a compelling story within one season, highlighting the Sauron Celebrimbor dynamic, making us like Celebrimbor, making us care about Celebrimbor, and making us feel the emotional weight of his loss by the end of the season. So, to your point, if they do in fact start with more of these Celeborn mentions in season 3, like they expanded for Celebrimbor in season 2, then I do think throughout season 3 we will actually come to care for the reintroduction of this character and how it affects Galadriel.
Yeah, no. One thing I really liked to hear from Northie is Glade of Flowers, like how they first met in the books. That would be cool if they figure out a way to pull that off. Like, just kind of do like a fan service there. And it could be a beautiful moment.
So far, every season has started off with a flashback. So if Celeborn is in this season, I feel like it has to be the prologue. Is
A flashback to their first meeting or something? The
Yeah.
way she
Ooh.
described it to Theo? That would be pretty fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also been seeing some people in the comments talking about the where he's been theory. A lot of people are talking about the only thing that makes sense is for him to have been a prisoner of war. I agree with the top what Taka Senpai mentioned that the only captor for Celeborn might work is the Wizard of Rune. I think
Mhm.
that's true at this point. There was a moment where I was thinking that maybe Adar had Celeborn or Sauron did, but I think at this point it wouldn't. I mean, Adar clearly doesn't have him. He would have said something and he's gone now. And
Yeah.
Sauron clearly doesn't, or he would have been using that as leverage over Galadriel.
Mhm.
So if he, yeah, if he,
This is why they have the Harfoots in season 3, because the Harfoots are gonna find Celeborn.
yeah, I mean, it could make sense if the Dark Wizard has him, or if some other random people. But then the question becomes, how did the Dark Wizard get him? Because he was fighting against Sauron.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of different possibilities at this point. Hopefully, we get some more set pictures and leaks in the future that help clarify what we could expect going forward. Hopefully, they announce who the new cast members are officially playing at some point. That would be great.
Also,
Yeah.
TV Girl says brought up I wanted the Elrond Elros prologue so bad. I agree. I kind of had that pegged as what I thought the prologue would be. The more I think about it, the more I think it probably has to be Celeborn. I could see Elrond getting his prologue in season 4,
Yeah.
as we're assuming that's going to be the big Numenor season.
Yeah.
I just hope that doesn't mean that season 3 is the Galadriel Celeborn season. Season 3 also needs to be the Numenor season. We need more than one season of build up for Numenor.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I agree with your point, Webcrawler, that like they did build up Celebrimbor through the duration of one season,
hmm
but I feel like Numenor, it needs more time than just
Yeah. No, it's going to be tough for them to balance. I agree with you. I wish we had more Numenor in season 2. It felt like maybe we got like 90 minutes tops if you add up all the scenes together. But they have an opportunity now for each character to just focus on sort of their own kind of plot line. And so I hope that if they have Galadriel off doing all of that stuff, they've got Elrond going off maybe to try to recruit Numenor or something. That should hopefully provide us with a broader scope on Numenorian politics. I mean, they will have to address what's happening in Pelargir, so they can't just leave that be. So that will open up space for that. And I mean, we know the War of the Elves, the Numenorians come to the aid of Gil-galad at some point. And so if this season does cover that, then they have to set up that arrival. And then there's also the whole thing with Pharazôn capturing Sauron. If season 4 is indeed the fall of Numenor plotline, that has to happen. And so they have to build that up too. So there's a lot of things they got to juggle. And yes, Northie says we need some Gil-galad love and character development. Gil-galad has to show a bit more kingliness. He can't just be sitting around writing letters and staring off into the distance. He's got to be more involved. Personally, I would love to see Gil-galad and Elendil meet up for the first time this season. That's my big hope.
And you kind of touched upon the big plot points that got to be hit. What do you think the climax of this season is going to be? Because we do like the fall of Numenor, that's got to happen. But based on like leaks we're seeing and stuff, it seems like the amount of story they have to cover to get to that point is probably not happening this season. So what are we feeling like the climax of the season going to be? Like a massive battle between Sauron, or do we think Sauron's going to get captured and like maybe the cliffhanger is he's setting sail to Numenor? Maybe we start with you, Upcrawler.
I'll let Dunedain go first.
Oh,
go for it.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm going to build off of the theory that I've been seeing people say. I think that the season is going to start off with the War of Elves and Sauron in earnest. I think that Gil-galad is going to send a letter to Numenor requesting aid. I think that it's going to not be received. Numenorians are going to decline it. They're not going to come help. We've seen nothing that would make sense for them to come help. And then I think Elrond is going to get sent as the second plea. Because we know in the lore, this is the moment where Gil-galad sends out a letter for aid and Numenor comes and helps.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, with the change of the timeline and crunching things, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for how Numenor is at this moment to come and help. Although even in the timeline, if you think about it, Numenor was already kind of on the decline, so it wasn't really like super on good terms with the elves at this point anyway. But I think that they're going to send Elrond as the second envoy. Oh boy, Sauron. No! But I think that, they're going to send Elrond as the second envoy. He's going to do something to convince them. And Pharazôn is going to do the same thing from season 1, where he figures out a way to be used for his own gain. Or maybe Elrond doesn't even convince him. Maybe Pharazôn just gets goaded into it because Sauron is attacking Pelargir and destroying the Numenorian settlement that he has set up there. So I do think that this season's going to end probably with the forging of the One Ring and Sauron getting, kicked out of Middle Earth for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a fair guess there. We have Sauron in the chat. Maybe we should ask him. Like, what are you doing next season?
Yeah, buddy. Where's the ring? I thought you were gonna make a One Ring by now. You're a little late
Did
behind schedule.
Maybe Sauron didn't sign the NDAs because he doesn't have legal counsel. So maybe we can get some answers from him. Oh, how about you, Webcrawler? Do you agree with Aiden? Do you have any other theories?
I agree with some points. Yeah, I think for the most part, I feel like that's how it's going to work out. But I think in the beginning, what we'll see is that the elves might actually be struggling to win against the orc army, and that is going to cause Gil-galad to not just send out messengers, but send out people he trusts. Because as we saw in season 2, messengers, they have a tendency to die off screen. So
They don't have a good track record in this show.
They don't. So they will, he'll send his envoys who are going to be Elrond, Galadriel, maybe Arondir, the people that we expect to go off to far-flung regions for different plot lines. So yeah, I do think Elrond will be sent to Numenor. I'm hoping there's a passage in the Silmarillion where Manwë, having heard of the Numenorians sort of being dissatisfied with their place and their lot, sends sort of a messenger to Numenor to talk to Tar Atanabir. And there's this really beautiful dialogue talking about the doom of man and the fate of man and what their purpose is. And I kind of hope that conversation happens, but with Elrond and Pharazôn. I hope Elrond gets to bring that perspective as a half-elf and talk about his father and everything. So that is one thing that I'm hoping really happens and looks forward to. And from there, I think what will happen is the Numenorians might turn down Elrond, but maybe the faithful won't. And so the faithful will show up to help Gil-galad and save them in Lindon or Rivendell or wherever the big battle happens. But Pharazôn is going to have to deal with the Pelargir issue, as Aiden mentioned. So on the other side, it'll be Pharazôn going off with his armada to face Sauron there. And then near the end of the season, it's going to be a race to see who gets to Sauron first. Pharazôn or Gil-galad and Elendil. Pharazôn gets there first. Yeah.
I was just thinking, you just got me thinking, like, what if it is the faithful that go and Elendil does all the work, loses so many men, and beats Sauron and captures him, and then Pharazôn shows up right at that moment and takes all the credit and takes him back to Numenor.
That would be awesome too. That would be like heart-wrenching. It would be emotional. It would get fans talking. I think that would be great television. And you could have Galadriel at that scene telling Farazan not to capture Sauron, but Farazan, being the proud man he is, who doesn't like elves, is gonna ignore her and take him anyway.
I do like this theory I'm seeing in the comments about if Elrond goes as an envoy, it's going to make Farazan even angrier because he's going to see basically the face of Elros, but as immortally youthful, and that's going to make him even more like power hungry and like desiring for immortality.
Yeah, so that Elrond Farazan connection could be great, and both those actors are really talented. Tristan and Robert Aramayo, they're both talented enough to pull off a scene between the two.
Oh, I think we have a wild Omo in the comment section right now. I think I saw him pop up a second ago. Oh yeah, Omo is here.
I think that's
lurking in our waters.
I think that's just an adoring fan of your shit.
Oh no. Oh god. What is he doing?
I'm that friend, Shiv.
TV Girl brings up a good point, saying that our Farazan might still receive reports from Numenorian colonies about Sauron claiming the title of Lord of Middle-earth and King of Men. And yeah, I agree. And that is why I think he's going to wear the Halbrand costume in season 3, which should please a lot of people.
Yeah, I am curious what his look is going to be for season 3. I'm on team. I think it's going to be. Oh no. Yeah, I think he's going to have a new look in season 3.
Oh my god. Oh no.
All right.
Northeast says the faithful can feel invested after hearing Elrond as a mirror image of Elros, who represents the core values of Numenor. Yeah, so like this is why it would be a great idea to send Elrond to Numenor, because you really can highlight this aspect of Numenorian storytelling.
And
yeah.
I was gonna say, you know what they could do, because like it might feel a little bit like Whiplash, but it also could be the show's way of showing the history of Numenor through this condensed period. Is maybe Elrond actually kind of helps Numenor kind of turn itself around. Like maybe they actually help Farazan's rule slacken a little bit. Maybe people start becoming a little bit more elf friendly again, because in the whole span of the history of Numenor, they kind of go back and forth on like anti-elf, pro-elf, anti-elf. And so this could be a cool way of like maybe Elrond actually succeeds and like things start turning around. I don't think Farazan will ever be turned around. He'll probably still be kind of bitter about it, but he's a politician. He knows how to play to his audience. So maybe he just goes along with it because the people are kind of all hyped up on, remembering their roots. And then maybe Elrond is feeling all proud of himself that he got, Numenor back and fighting. And then at the end of the season, they're like, we're going to take Sauron back with us. And Elrond's like, ah, shit. And then Sauron corrupts them even further.
Yeah, no, that would be great. That could give us some of the 9 ring bearers as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, do you think will we get full-fledged Nazgul this season, or potentially at least hints of who would become the Nazgul?
I think we will get at least a few. I think that if I was the showrunners and I was making the Nazgul, I'd probably do like proto Nazgul, where it's like they still have physical bodies. I don't know. Maybe they will turn fully into wraiths. I don't know, but like I think it would make sense for them to still have physical corporeal bodies, but also just be fully enslaved, and that after they're destroyed, they just are undying. They come back as ghosts.
I think they should turn into wraiths the moment Sauron makes the One Ring and puts it on. Like that should be the moment where they turn into wraiths. So I hope that scene is in this season going forward. But hopefully Sauron makes that One Ring
And what TV Girl says, I 1000% agree. I think in one of my first Fellowship of Fans videos or streams, I was like, would be very tragic if Theo becomes a Nazgul. It's like they have to do that. That's
Yeah.
like one character we've seen enough of where it would be tragic to see.
I don't know. Theo is like the living embodiment of Eru Iluvatar. He's a pure-hearted
Oh,
kid.
Oh,
You know, just let him be. Let him be a good kid.
okay. Otaku brings up another really good point. This is something I've grappled with a lot. I don't know how the showrunners are going to handle it, but the idea of Ar-Pharazôn as a wraith, I don't want him to become a Nazgul. He has a different fate laid out for him in the books, but I'm
Yeah.
really, really struggling with the rationalization of how you can circumvent that. Because in the books, the reason that he doesn't get a ring is because they're handed out hundreds of years before he's even born. So it's like he was never even a candidate. But in a show like this, where Sauron is trying to ensnare the most powerful, influential people within kingdoms, it makes very, very little sense to me why he would not try to give one to Ar-Pharazôn. Especially if he said, these will make you immortal, which they essentially do. Like, it wouldn't even be, like, you could easily see how he could stretch that, and as an audience member, you'd be like, yeah, he's telling the truth because it's going to turn you into an undying wraith for eternity. But again, I don't want him to be a Nazgul, but I'm really struggling with the timeline compression, rationalizing a way that makes sense for Sauron to not give him a ring. Unless he does the same thing that Durin does, where he has the ring and then gives it to Kemen as he's leaving to go fight the Valar or something.
I think what could happen is Sauron could give the 9 rings out before Pharazôn comes to Middle Earth. And then that way you avoid the whole thing of giving out.
Yeah,
Giving
that would
him
just
a
mean
ring.
that the 3 Numenorians would all have to be from Pelargir.
Mhm.
Because I think it is 3 of the Nazgul are from Numenor. Or if I'm
Yeah.
remembering correctly.
Yeah, one
I
of them
think,
could be Kemen.
TV Girl says is cooking in the comments. I'm liking all of her theories right now.
I know, we got a lot of good theorizing going off. It's hard to, like, I see a good theory and then, like, we're on a tangent and then, like, just when it's gone.
Oh, that's another good one too. Kemen steals Al-Pharazôn's ring and it affects him. Ooh.
Yeah,
I would
like,
love Kemen to be a wraith.
Yeah, I like the idea of Kemen being a wraith as well.
That would actually, yeah, as long as he's not the Witch King, I'm fine with that.
No. He's the Nazgul that Aragorn throws the torch at.
Yeah, I
In his
think that's
case.
the theory we've had going on. But that would actually be kind of interesting to see Kemen have a parallel story to Durin the Younger, where he sees his father being corrupted by the ring, but instead of like being concerned for his father and wanting to save him from it, he's jealous of the ring and he wants to take it for himself.
That's a pretty good one, and really highlights the whole greed of man thing as well. Speaking of Durin, we really don't talk much about dwarves. I know Varking isn't here, but
It's hard. There's nothing
Yeah.
in the lore about what happens to him during this. They get the rings. They don't really work the way that Sauron wanted them to.
yeah,
And that's kind of it. I mean, they'll probably be involved in the War of the Last Alliance. Again, I'm going to keep using this quote until the day I die, but in the War of the Last Alliance, all races fought on both sides, save elves. So, I mean, I imagine that Durin will probably fight alongside Elrond in the War of the Last Alliance. But
And we have Olmo joining us now, so I can ask him, what role do you think you're playing in season 3? Are you gonna use your waters for good or ill?
Bro, every time it's the same questions in it. I'm under NDA, you know what I mean? Like even us Valar are not as strong as Amazon, you know, there's a limit in everything.
We're just trying to get scoops here. I figured I'd ask.
Yeah.
We had Harry out in the wild getting film set, so
I bet you
Figured
Harry could join the stream again. I bet you by the time he gets home, he probably is home right now. He could hop on if he wanted to. That's how close they are filming to his house. It's insane.
He's gonna hop on when me and Shiva are gonna start doing bad stuff.
I mean, he can only take his dog on a walk for so long, right?
You hear that story? This is kind of funny. So Harry's dog is named Gimli, and he said that when he was walking around the set, he had to call his dog by a different name because he didn't want the security catching on that he was like a super fan.
Oh, that's funny.
And Saint Sir Nicholas is asking how long is the stream, by the way, and the answer to that is we can go on tangents for a while. We have no idea where this is going to land, but I would say we probably got a couple more things to talk about outside of Rings of Power, so
Mhm.
there's a little bit more left to go. Maybe that's a good segue into the next topics.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
how long are we going to talk about? Can we wrap this up?
I have a very important topic. Who do you think Jamie Kimball Bauer is
Oh
playing?
my
gosh. Elven Soldier number 4.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna.
I just can't wait. We need that official announcement of who's going to play, so we're going to stop with that. But
so
hopefully, we
stupid.
get Variety or Vanity Fair, someone please get that scoop.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll move on, and then if more things come up about Rings of Power, we'll jump back to it. But I figure we'll touch upon some of these other. Take a intermission real quick. So in the fandom of Lord of the Rings, we also had the release of Tales of the Shire. Some of us at Fellowship have been able to play the game. I unfortunately have not yet been able to play it. But some of the preliminary reviews came in from like gaming websites. So like I have IGN pulled up, and the review tagline is a promising idea that turned out dreadfully boring and extremely buggy. So that one's a little painful to hear. This one is GameSpot. Tales of the Shire has some charming ideas, but dull gameplay, heaps of bugs, and general sense of emptiness ultimately drag the promising life sim down to the pits of Moria. So the review, I would say the gaming review entities have been kind of dragging it through the mud, but I have been seeing a lot of positive reviews from a lot of the content creators and people commenting. But yeah, there's been a lot of pluses and minuses going on through this. So like Aiden, I think you're the first person on the stream that's played it. Like, what are your initial thoughts of the game?
Yeah, so I streamed it last weekend with my wife, and we played it, and I had a good time. It was a fun little game. I mean, I've been busy this week. I meant to play it more this morning so I could have a better opinion, because it's so hard to give like an honest opinion of a game when you have so little time and hours spent into it. I mean, so many of these game journalists and YouTube reviewers, like they'll play a game for like 5 hours and then send a review out, and like you can't get the full sense of a game in that short of time. I mean, there are games I've played that I've loved, that I've put 20 hours in and I feel one way, and then 100 hours in and I feel a completely different way. So it's hard to say for certain. I've only put like 80 minutes into Tales of the Shire, so not a whole lot of time. But I can see the appeal of it. It's a fun little quaint game. I really like the art style. I'll say that I think my experience was a little bit better because I played on PC. I think a lot of people I saw playing it played it on Nintendo Switch, and it looks. I mean, at this point, you kind of just got to know. Anytime you get a game that's made for multiple consoles but also on Nintendo Switch, it's not going to run as good. If you get a game that's made specifically for Nintendo Switch, it's fine. But a lot of times, these cross-platforms that get thrown on Switch, they just get crunched to hell, and they look bad, and they run really buggy. So I didn't have any problems with that when I played it on PC. But I don't know. I can see this game being fun. It's very cozy and quaint. There's a lot of fun aspects about it. I do know I heard some complaints about certain aspects of it that didn't personally bug me as much. One of the big ones was there's a timer So when you play the game, you have like a day and night cycle. You can kind of see it in the screen, that bottom corner. There's like a little day cycle like timer that's going. And when it gets to night, if you're not home, you like pass out and you get a penalty, which I think is some people are struggling with because they expected this game to be a lot like Animal Crossing. But I played Stardew Valley for a while, and this game is a lot like Stardew Valley in that aspect. In fact, it's honestly a lot more forgiving because Stardew Valley only gives you 14-minute day-night cycles, and this game is 20 minutes. So it wasn't too much of a detriment to me, but I do know that a lot of people struggle with that aspect, as it kind of puts a little bit of a stress burden on the timeline and how much you can do and get done. But I don't know. Overall, I enjoyed it so far. I'm a sucker for all things Lord of the Rings. I just hope that they continue to update it and add things to it, because I think this game has potential to be really good and appeal to a lot of people. And it broke my heart to see how many people were just so excited for this game, and just like the conversation around it that has proceeded since release has just been really upsetting, because I know so many people were so excited, and then now it just feels like, well, the game's here. All right, we don't have to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I definitely want to get around to giving it a shot. Like, I really liked. Well, I guess maybe this is a question I could ask you. So, like Animal Crossing, a big part of it that I really liked was like the collecting aspects of collecting different fish, bugs, whatever. Does this game have any of that in it, or is this more so just? Oh,
Yeah, it does it.
Okay.
I don't know how extensive it is, but I know that there's like different mushrooms you can find around the Shire. You can pick up. There's a fishing element. You saw a little bit in that video. I assume there's a lot of different fish you can catch, probably different ponds. Like I said, I haven't gotten super far into it, so I don't know if you can like upgrade your fishing rod to like get better fish or something. But there are a lot of aspects like that. The main core of the game, as you're seeing on the screen right now, is cooking. That seems to be kind of the main gameplay aspect of it. Is you get these ingredients, you make stuff, you fill up your pantry, as you can see behind him, and you make food. I'm describing it as it's playing on the screen, but you feed it to the hobbits, and you increase your relationship with them. If you make a good food, their friendship level will go up. You'll get new things from them. But yeah. Let me see. Frodo looks a bit. I don't think Frodo is in this game. Farmer Cotton and Rosie and Sandyman are in this game, but I think that's the only. Gandalf's in it. To answer the question really quick on the screen, would I recommend buying it? I think it's kind of a personal question. Depends how strapped you are for cash. I mean, if this is a game you want to play, it's $30. It's not too expensive, but I would maybe wait to see if there's more updates. If you're worried about not enjoying it, I would wait to see kind of how they're going to handle the backlash and build from it. I'm a big believer in second chances. I know there's a lot of games out there that release kind of subpar at the beginning, but then they really do put a lot of work into fixing it and updating it over the years, and then it becomes something incredible. So I'm hoping that's the case with Tales of the Shire. But if you're looking for something fun, like, yeah, I think it's a fun game, but it really just depends on the kind of games you like to play. I mean, if you don't know how you feel about these kind of games, I would recommend buying Stardew Valley. I love that game if you're looking for a fun farming simulator. You haven't played anything like this, but yeah, I know $30 is a lot for me too. That's okay. Real talk. That's half the reason that I've been afraid to play it again, is because I'm still on Steam. If you play a game under 2 hours, you can refund it, and so I'm like at that threshold where I'm like, I want to play it more to see what I think of it, but if I play it anymore, I'm going to pass the point of no return where I can't get a refund. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a cozy game. It's fun. You get to decorate your house. I think there's definitely an audience for it. You just have to know what kind of games you like. So I have a hard time recommending things because some games just aren't made for everyone. I mean, Call of Duty is a very widely appealing game. A lot of people love it. I'm personally not that interested in that style of game. So, someone could recommend that, but it's just not a game for me. So, in the same way with this, yeah, I could recommend it, but maybe this isn't the type of game for you.
I got a fun question, and I'll answer first to kind of stall for time in case anyone else has other ideas. But this question is: if you could have any game built in Middle Earth, what would it be? And the game I was kind of fantasizing about in Middle Earth would literally be an open world Middle Earth where you follow the path of Frodo from getting the ring all the way to the destruction. And it'd be really cool. And I feel like, the economic side of it is they could release just the Fellowship first. So you get to do everything from getting the ring and all that going up until the end of if you want to do a movie tie-in, you can do that. And having that be the end of the game, and then the expansions are each of the books. So Two Towers, Return of the King. And what I think could be cool is if it's a movie tie-in, you could have subplots of all the stuff that was missed from the books, like doing a side tangent with Tom Bombadil, or maybe see Glorfindel somewhere. Like, it'd be really cool if they were able to pull something like that off. And then my other fantasy would be, I guess it's kind of like Battle for Middle Earth, but there's a game I've mentioned a couple times that I've been obsessed with when I was younger called Kingdom of Fire. And in that game, you can control units as well as like be a button smasher where you just hit hundreds of people with a sword on screen. So it'd be really cool to do something like that where you can control units, like place your archers strategically and then just button smash like crazy. So yeah, those are my two. Anyone have any games that they would love to see set in Middle Earth?
I mean, the first game you described is pretty much LOTRO, Lord of the Rings Online, minus being able to play as the main characters. But
Yeah.
you create your own character, MMO or open world, and you kind of follow the path of the Fellowship after they've gone through a place, and you interact with the characters there. And it ties pretty heavily into the lore, even like detailed, obscure lore. Like there's a whole Angmar section. There's a thing with the Rangers of the Dunedain. It's a great game. I haven't played it in years. I just haven't had the time. But yeah, I love that game when I played it.
I might have to I've never given it a shot. I've definitely heard of it. But maybe it is time to dive into LOTRO.
Yeah, no, it's great. It will take over your life for a little bit at first because it's so immersive. At least when I played it.
Yeah, I could maybe get behind a game like this if it was like Lord of the Rings Online, but like optimized, so it was like Skyrim, like an open world like exploration game. I think could be a lot of fun.
So if any execs are out there listening to this, please make those games for us. Those will be hits.
The execs always listen to the fans. It's very important to remember.
One would hope.
Well, cool.
All right. So yeah, those are some of the games reviews. We got Aiden's firsthand impression. What else do we have? I think we have another Rings of Power topic that we could discuss, but let's see if I can find that.
Hunt for Gollum.
Oh yeah,
Quick.
Gollum. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
I'll pull up something.
Just to get it out of the way.
Oh man, we don't have any good photos to pull from, so I'm just gonna have to go with.
Yeah, Gollum's not very photogenic.
I'll start with this and try to find a better quality. But yeah, the Hunt for Gollum, I believe there was an article posted recently, or at least an interview clip, where they said that the script was looking really good, from my understanding.
So it's interesting you say that because I feel like we heard two reports, which was that I can't remember who said this. Maybe it was Andy Serkis or someone said that the script was done, but they probably have to do some revisions on it. And then David Zaslav came out and was like, "Oh, the script
yeah.
is incredible," and it's like, I don't know. Call me crazy, but I'm not the biggest. I don't have the most faith in David Zaslav. That's what he says.
I definitely trust Andy Serkis. He's got the heart in the right place for sure. So I guess I'm listening to his comments more now.
They're going
But
to
yeah,
start shooting
we-
next year, right?
I believe so.
They're
Yeah.
starting in, I think they said like December or January they're going to start filming.
Oh, it's not that far.
Wow.
Yeah.
Time's flying.
I know.
I'm
It's
so-
crazy that like this time next year we will be deep in like the press, like the
Season 3 campaign, yeah.
season 3 promotional campaign. Like
And then
Oh.
might have some more on the hunt for Gollum.
this time next year we'll probably have it'll be probably past San Diego Comic-Con, so
Yeah.
we may have even been able to like see all the stuff they're going to unveil there, and like that's going to be awesome.
Is anyone in the chat thinking about going to New York Comic Con this year? Just curious. I've been on the fence because there's not much Lord of the Rings related this year, so I
I
don't
know.
know.
I'm bummed, Shiv. I wanted to go. I was actually going to reach out to you and see if you wanted to go together, but I actually am going to be out of town that weekend. So
Ah,
I know. 'Cause
Make-
Harry was talking to me about going, but
If you're going Shiv, I mean, I have to come, right? Like, you gotta do it.
we'll send a boat for you, or a bucket of so you can scoop you in.
yeah. No, I mean we don't know much about him for Gollum. Andy Serkis has made some worrying comments about using AI in the film, but I'm hoping that's just him not really understanding the difference between AI and CGI. But I don't know. We've talked about this film at length in the Fellowship of
Like-
Fans chat. I have a really hard time understanding the purpose for it. Could be a fun movie, could be a good time, but it just seems very much like, I don't know. I just hope that their heart was in the right place when they pitched this idea, and that just from a bystander perspective, it feels more like this was just a sensible corporate move to do. I mean, bring Andy Serkis back, Gollum's a fan favorite character, but
Keep the license.
yeah, what? Who said that? World
And-
War Hero who?
Wasn't there like an official interview too, like where they said that this movie's going to be from the perspective of Gollum?
Yeah, well, Gollum's the main character, and that's the problem. This movie is about the period that they're looking for Gollum, and they keep using words like big and dramatic and massive, and those are none of the words that describe that story. So it's very worrying. So I see Kiwi is in the chat. What is up? Kiwi's asking about Lord of the Rings Gollum. It's only the greatest game to ever exist. I mean, Tales of the Shire. I mean, everything that people say about the Lord of the Rings Gollum is true about Tales of the Shire, and everything that people say about I don't know, pick any Game of the Year winner over the last 20 years. I think it just came out too early for its time, or maybe too late. I don't know. I don't know when the right period was for Lord of the Rings Gollum, but it's going to have revisionist history here in a bit. I think it's a bold, fresh take on the character, and from a Gollum video game to a Gollum movie, people clearly understand that there is a hunger for Gollum material. He's everyone's favorite character. Whenever I watch Lord of the Rings, I walk away saying, "Man, I want to see more Gollum." Like that's the story I want to see more of. And boy, if that's how you feel, do I have a game to recommend for you? So, Lord of the Rings Gollum, the only game that comes with an apology from the studio included.
Wow. Oh. Whew. Yeah, and it is interesting too, because basically that Gollum game is roughly what they want the movie plot to be, it sounds like. So it's like we had one thing that failed, and now we're going to turn it into a movie. Oh.
Yeah, I think that I just think that Warner Brothers is confusing like iconicness and recognizability for compelling factor. Like, I don't think that Gollum is really that. Like, he's a very interesting and compelling character, but like we've seen his story.
Yeah.
We'll see, but I've brought this up many times. I'm still gonna put money on this, and I'll keep saying it until we have it confirmed, which we will eventually. The orcs attacking the elves in Mirkwood and Gollum escaping is going to be retrofitted into being a battle bigger than Minas Tirith. It is going to be a massive, massive war. Mark my words. It's going to be the second time a nothing chapter from a book in Mirkwood where a tiny event happens is changed into a massive battle. We had the barrel ride where there's no conflict, which was turned into a fight in the woods. And we are going to have a fight in the woods that will be turned into a war. And,
Do you think they'll have sandworms at this too?
oh my gosh. Anyway.
Dun, dun, dun. Wow. All right. So we talked about Tales of the Shire. We talked about Hunt for Gollum. We talked a lot about Rings of Power. I can do a quick merch shout out for upcoming book release if I can pull that up quickly.
They think Gollum has the same appeal as the Joker.
He's
Oh
just
my
like me.
gosh. Joaquin Phoenix is Gollum.
Oh wow. I'd see that. I'd watch that.
I'd watch that.
No CGI, no mocap, just him in costume.
Joaquin Phoenix in a loincloth walking around like downtown Chicago.
Oh my god. All right. Apparently I posted this book set a long time ago. I cannot find my link. Oh boy. Where are you? But if anyone has the urge to spend a lot of money, here we go.
Oh, you know I always do.
In this economy, allegedly there's going to be a 70th anniversary deluxe signed limited edition book set. I'm sure by HarperCollins, if I had to guess. Yep, HarperCollins. This is kind of some of the preliminary artwork, and it looks beautiful, but it looks very, very expensive as well. And here's a photo of the cover or bookcase. But yeah, I don't know if has anyone heard about this. I think it was released, like some images were released early this week, but I don't know if I can do it.
It looks
My wallet
nice.
says it looks very nice.
Yeah, we just need to get more. We start doing like book reviews on the channel, so like we can get these companies to like send us books for free.
Oh my god, I would love that because I've been collecting. I'll see if I can pull these up quick, but I've been collecting the matte editions of all of Tolkien's books, and those get pretty pricey after a while. They're like, yeah, at least $30 a pop.
Jeez.
I can do a quick. Yeah, I'll do this. So if there's any Americans in the chat, if you want the UK editions, Blackwell's is actually a pretty decent site to find these books. But I'll just type in Tolkien, and this is another. It must be out. The Myths and Legend box set that was recently announced, so that must be available for order, which is pretty cool. But they have so many versions. This is the set that kind of launched this like matte finish illustrated editions. Pretty pricey, but I've been collecting all of these and they're beautiful books. Highly recommend.
Super nice.
They got beautiful artwork, and it seems like the majority of the books by HarperCollins come out with this version, which is nice. So you can get uniform books on your bookshelf if that's what you prefer. But yeah, there's a lot of great editions out there. A lot of great editions.
Oh yeah.
So to make sure we cover all of our bullet points, and we're sitting at an hour and 25-minute stream, we can bounce back real quick to Rings of Power. Might be our final point for the night,
Gotta
or
bring it full
day, or
circle.
morning. Bring it full circle. We got this official promo for Rings of Power, so pretty cool to see. I'll just play a little bit of this. And I think, Aiden, you mentioned there was some Easter eggs in this?
Yeah, so the very end, right after this shot, yeah. So pause that. If you want to go ahead and expand that. Yeah. Here, and if you go back just a little bit, and if you take that comment off the screen, we'll be able to see a little bit more.
Oh, boy.
So if you try to go back just a little bit more, you can kind of see it in the...
Right
Okay.
there.
Yeah, right there in the very bottom left corner is what appears to be Feanor's hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And so people have long speculated that Sauron is going to use Feanor's hammer to craft the One Ring. We saw him holding it at the end of season 2, which I think was done very much intentionally, especially considering that, Celebrimbor threw the ring, or threw the hammer out the window, so Sauron went and picked it up.
And then,
Secondly, that little pole in the background, the little stand you see, those look like the exact same stands that Celebrimbor used to hold up the Nine Rings when he was crafting them. Do you remember how he had them all kind of like set in those little stands?
Oh, yeah.
yeah, Tea with Tolkien brought this up in
Yeah.
her stories. She was pointing out the comparison between this picture and a picture of Celebrimbor working on the Nine Rings.
Yeah, I will give all credit to T for this. She's the one who, or at least in the post I saw, she's the one who went through and found all these little Easter eggs. But I think it's very, very clearly meant to indicate that he will be forging the One Ring this season. I think a lot of the promo they've set up so far on the season kind of has been focused around the concept that the One Ring is next. The big thing, I'm curious to hear your theories. What do you think the Crown of Morgoth is going to have to do with the One Ring being forged?
Oh,
Well-
man. Are they going to melt the crown?
So we were having this discussion in the Torn Discord, and we came across a passage. I believe it's in Unfinished Tales, where it talks about Aule gathering 6 metals together to make the chain that bound Morgoth. I forgot what it's called. But that metal was called Tilkav. And so I'm wondering if that's what sort of this Iron Crone, quote unquote, is kind of made of, because as Aldar mentioned, it's a very powerful crown, right? It was enough to kill Sauron, at least temporarily. And so it might have some of those infused mystical metal properties that the show kind of did with Mithril. So it could be interesting to use it as the foundational base for the One Ring.
We've also seen a lot of people bring this up. I don't know how much I buy into this theory, nor how much I really want it to come to fruition, but along with the, regaining the hammer, the Crown of Morgoth was shown to have Galadriel's blood on it at the end. So I've seen some people theorize that maybe there will be something to do with Galadriel's blood, but I don't really like the idea of the One Ring being forged with her blood. Maybe you could use that to say like that's why Sauron would be able to control the rings if he got them, is because that's the elven influence put into the One Ring. But I don't know. I think the way they have it right now is set up as fine. The 3 elven rings were already set up to be forged with his instruction, just not his influence. So
Mhm. Yeah.
that still fits for me and is fine. But I don't know. I've seen that theory floating around the internet far too many times to not mention at least once, just because it is a factor of the crown. But yeah, those are the little
Yeah,
ring.
those are the ring stands. So yeah, I'm
Took me
wondering if that
forever.
scene is still in Eregion. I mean, we saw the tower collapse at the end of episode 8, but maybe there's another forge tower, or maybe it's just the remnants of the forge tower.
Maybe I kind of want Sauron to build Barad-dûr in season 3. I kind of want
Oh yeah, definitely.
while the elves were building Rivendell, I want Sauron to have built Barad-dûr, or at least the beginnings of it. I think, yeah. I mean,
Is he gonna need a
has-
sword hilt to unlock Barad-dûr as well, or?
here's I mean, the showrunners have been told by the estate they're allowed to fill in the gaps, but they are not allowed to alter the key points in the lore. The things that are said have to happen. I mean, they brought that up with Celebrimbor's death. They had to kill him because it says in the lore that he dies, and this is how he dies. With the One Ring, there's basically like it is one of the key facts about the One Ring that it was forged in the fires of Mount Doom. So I don't think there's any way this show could do the One Ring without setting up Barad-dûr, or at least having Sauron in Mordor, which is the one thing I'm trying to wrap my head around this season, because from what we've heard, it sounds like he's going to be in Eriador, fighting in the war. But I don't know. I think that I could see him maybe fighting there in the beginning and then leaving and having his lieutenant carry it out. But, oh boy.
I hated to do that, but oops.
I don't know. I mean, they could have Celebrimbor as a banner, but it would just be like his skeleton at that point.
Yeah, if they're doing a time jump, I don't see that body being preserved for long, unless Sauron does like some kind of pseudo necromancy and keeps it.
I mean, they
somewhat
could maybe do like
with the Barrow-wites.
they
kind of
could do
thing.
like the bones of Celebrimbor, like decorating a banner. They could have like his skull on a banner or something. I could see them doing something like that, but
Ugh. All right, going to a happier photo.
yeah.
Oh man, I haven't watched season 2 in a while. I wonder if I should go in for my like 11th rewatch.
We're doing the rewatch in the Torn Discord. Just finished episode 1 last week. Started episode 2 today, this week. So you should
Ooh,
free to join along. We have discussions every Saturday.
all right. I might take you up on that, and yeah, anyone interested, feel free to tune in. Awesome. Well, what are we at? We're sitting at now an hour and a half. I think we're at a good resting place here. So, any final topics anyone would like to discuss? Did I miss anything? Any itching point you want to make that we didn't get to in talking about the Rings of Power leaks?
Oh, there was a set photo from forever ago that we never talked about with was Alex Diesenhoff? Is that the name of the cinematographer?
Yeah, that is.
He posted a photo of himself in the woods, which looked strikingly similar to the woods that they filmed the Mirkwood scenes or the Greenwood scenes back in season 1 when the stranger encountered the cultists there. So it looked like a similar area, and he posted it. So maybe the Greenwood, those guys will end up in the show. I don't know. I could see them being brought in during the War of Elves. I mean, I think they definitely will need the backup. So
It looks like a web crawler just sent me some more photos that we.
Yeah,
Oh
so
wow,
this is a
higher
good look
def.
at the tent. We can see it a lot more clearly now.
Yeah.
Does that look
Wow.
elven?
Ooh, yeah, it kind of does at the bottom, right?
Yeah,
I think this is the Elven camp.
yeah,
Wow,
yeah. It's a lot
man,
more
this
detail.
person was bold. They walked right up to the set.
That's what we need Harry to do. I wanted Harry to just start running towards the set while he was live streaming. I mean, even if they tackled him and stopped him, we're streaming live. That video would have been out of their hands.
Look, the fourth picture even has some roasting deer or something.
Yeah,
Having
like
a
a
feast.
smoker under there.
You guys are eating good out here.
So that's what
Wow.
happens to all the deer we saw in that other picture.
Otaku brought up, what do we think is going to follow Hunt for Gollum? They've been discussing a film or films about the War of the North. I know that Peter Jackson has discussed they're thinking about doing a new trilogy. I don't know if Hunt for Gollum is going to be the first part of that trilogy. I kind of have it in my head that they're going to do Hunt for Gollum and then a trilogy on top, which I think The Wars in the North sounds like a pretty good time period to settle on if you want to do an epic trilogy about a certain period. Low key, kind of really want someone else to make a movie or something set in a period where there's not a lot of written things about, so that it becomes more and more clear to people that if you're going to adapt a Tolkien area that there's not a lot of written information, you do have to come up with things, because that's the thing that drives me crazy about Rings of Power is they're like, especially if Peter Jackson did do the War of the North movie, which I don't think he would, because he seems like he's kind of done with Lord of the Rings, but people always give him all these, they give him all this credit for adapting the source material faithfully, which he still took his liberties, but he also adapted the most complete portion of the narrative.
Yeah.
And I think that if he got a chance to adapt something else, then it would hopefully give more empathy to the fact that sometimes you do need to add some things or fill in the gaps when there's not anything written, and I don't know, but it would be cool to see a movie about that time period.
I wish they had rights to the Silmarillion because there's so many good nuggets in there, like
Here's
Baron and Luthien.
Would you want the Silmarillion to be adapted as a movie trilogy called the Silmarillion, or would you want just a bunch of small projects, like a Baron and Luthien movie?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what you'd want it to be.
Yeah, like Baron and Luthien could be a standalone. I would love Story of Feanor. That is a pretty complete story. Yeah, there'd probably have to be time compression and all that, but even that, the kinslaying, that would be epic. Incest, but epic.
That's what's been driving me crazy online is I've seen so many people talking about I wish they could have made a show with Feanor as the main character. It's main character? What are you talking about? Feanor is
Feanor's a villain.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
Alignment aside, if you made let's say you made the Silmarillion as a massive TV show, Feanor could never be anything more than a Ned Stark level character.
Yeah.
He bows out of the story so early on. People I swear people who just tangentially understand the Silmarillion think he's the main character. He's not the main character. He's the inciting incident, and then everything else that happens has nothing to do with him.
It would be interesting to frame him, if anything, as sort of an antagonist to to the House of Finarfin, to Finrod, even.
And we would get a Galadriel cameo, right? Because she was around during the kinslaying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I wish they would do. And I see someone posted Children of Hurin. That's another one where it's more of a complete story. That would be doable. I feel like I'm missing a major one that I want.
Gondolin?
Oh yeah, Fall of Gondolin. Like that's another one and it echoes kind of there's similar stories in Rings of Power basically that Fall of Gondolin has. Like I forget the guy's name, but the guy who basically corrupts everyone at Gondolin and
Oh,
is it
yeah,
Maglin?
Dale, the Dark
Maegor,
Elf, and Sunlight.
yeah.
Yeah. Like that
Yeah,
would be amazing.
it's just so hard because like I understand why they compress the timeline in Rings of Power and why they like put all these characters on the same page. But like I'm worried that they would try to do the same thing in the Silmarillion, and it really just doesn't work that way. Like if you did the Silmarillion as like a major TV show, it would have to be an anthology series where each season follows like kind of like White Lotus. I don't know if anyone in here has watched the White Lotus. That's what
Yep.
the Silmarillion would have to be. Each season, a new cast of characters. Maybe you get a few who carry over from season to season, but like the way the Rings of Power is set up, where they tried to set up their entire principal cast in the beginning and carry them all the way through, just would not work in a Silmarillion adaptation. Because,
No. Yeah.
like yeah, you can have Thingol from the very beginning, and he's a character that's in most of it, but like Baron probably wouldn't come into like season 4 or 5.
Ooh, I know. Yeah, this I don't know how you would adapt, but what is it? I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, but is it? I don't even want to pronounce it, but basically the massive dragon, like the biggest
Glaurung?
dragon,
Oh no, and Callaghan.
And Caligon.
and Callaghan. Yes, if there was a way to see that on screen and like. I love the way Tolkien depicted like when the battles happen, it would shape mountains and all. Like, oh, I'd love to see that.
And
There's-
Caligon was bigger than the 3 peaks of Fangorodrim. I don't even know
Yeah.
how you conceptualize. This is a dragon that covers like half the sky when it's flying.
Oh,
That's the thing that makes it so hard, though, is because when you're writing a book as like a legend, like a mythological legend, it is very easy to write. It is
Mhm.
so hard to adapt because Callaghan is killed by Eärendil kills him, doesn't he? On the
Yeah, he
back
does.
of the King of Eagles.
Yeah.
How do you adapt that as like a? It's one of those things where it's just like you can't imagine it, but Tolkien says he does it, so you're like, all right. It's the same thing as Glorfindel and Gothmog. It's like it's hard to imagine like a human-sized person defeating a Balrog in single combat, but Tolkien said it happened, so it happened.
with that one, we got I know Gandalf's different, but Gandalf facing off with a Balrog, I feel like that's doable. But the more we talk about and Calagon being super mad, yeah, that one. I guess they would have to make adaptive choices where they make them smaller, but still like a massive dragon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I would basically like what brought me to Encalagon was the prologue in Rings of Power, how we got the battle with the eagles and everything, like that quick, 30-second scene. Like that, just like, oh, what are we missing? Like, what could we see from the Silmarillion that would be epic and at least figure out a way to adapt it in a.
And also just
Awesome.
seeing that shot, like I really hope that's what the Battle of the Last Alliance looks like. We have not seen a battle that looks anything like that.
Yeah.
Quick fight. And I understand that, yeah, it's a quick shot, so it's easy to set up. You don't need to build it out. But like still, I need to see more visuals like that in the battles. And lastly, I want to see dragons in this show. I believe
Yes.
that there were some unnamed dragons that were still alive during, because Smaug is one of the last of the dragons, but that's not till like the end of the Third Age. So we're like, you
Would
could
be-
easily rationalize having a dragon in this show, and I think that would be so much fun.
I mean, don't some of the Dwarven rings get eaten by dragons?
Yes,
so,
they do. So
there's an opportunity to have some dragons in the show.
you could even have that be the next rising threat. I mean, I almost kind of hope they do, because if they just keep building on the Balrog for the next 3 seasons, it'll get old. But I think that if they had a dragon instead, it's like, this is the new
Yes.
antagonist for the
Wow.
Dwarven plotline. I think that'd be perfect.
Yeah, so like to do that, I mean, they would also have to introduce, the Iron Hills dwarves, the Blue
Mhm.
Mountain dwarves, the Gundabad dwarves. So there'd be a lot more locations that they would have to build out, and I would love to see that. I mean, there were
Yeah.
dwarves pretty close to Rune, in the story that they could explore.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be funny if just Varking appears on the screen.
Talking about dwarves.
Oh man, yeah.
So
So
many things to look forward to.
so many things to look forward to, and this is kind of like what our first or second stream, kind of actually going over real leaks from season 3. So like this is the start. So everything from this point should just be hype and anticipation and excitement.
Got some
Well,
fun things to talk about coming up.
Yeah, some fun things. And like Harry mentioned, I think it's Sunday. Next Sunday, we're dropping the first Second Age show video, which has exclusives in it. So we're going to hear some new information for the first time next week, which is pretty
Can't
exciting.
Can't wait. It's going to be great.
Yes. All right. Well, on that note, it was awesome to have so much engagement in the chat. Like this was the first time I could not keep up. I was trying my best.
I'm sorry for everyone that we missed. We promised we weren't ignoring you. It's just it's hard to keep track of everything that's going on in the chat.
So I appreciate all of you, and some housekeeping at the end here. Fellowship of Fans has our podcast where we're covering a rewatch of The Wheel of Time. We're trying to help in any way we can with the efforts to save The Wheel of Time. It's not looking good, but there's a massive petition out there. And for anyone who hasn't given it a shot, just coming from me, who's a newbie watching it for the first time, it took me about a season and a half to get into it. So it's a pretty decent amount of time, but I'm a couple episodes into season 3 now, and I'm hooked. Like each season's a step up, and kind of similarly to what we're seeing with Rings of Power. There's some concerns in season 1. Season 2 is kind of almost in a unanimous step up, and we're hoping season 3 follows the same pattern of Wheel of Time in the fact that it gets better, not in the fact that it gets canceled. We don't want that. We're going to see this through for 5 seasons. But yeah, so if anyone's interested, we have that podcast going on. We have the Second Age show coming out next week, which is awesome. If there's anything you would like us to cover in the future, definitely throw some comments down below, and we'll keep it in mind. We've done many tangents in the past. We covered the Penguin. I'm sure we want to cover some of the superhero movies coming out. Like we might do a retrospective on Superman, Fantastic Four, if we can fit it in. So yeah, we're looking to expand and cover all things nerdy, really. So yeah, it's been a great time as always. Thank you, Webcrawler, for joining.
Thank you guys for having me.
Aiden, as always, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And Omo, I know you're a little quiet this time, but that's our fault for rambling. So thanks for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I guess. Do you have anything you want to add, almost?
You want to have the last word, Omo?
Yeah, so I have a theory about. No, I'm joking. Anyway.
Oh. Well, it was great having you on. Great having everyone. We're excited for the future of Rings of Power, and we'll keep you up to date as we learn more. And thanks again, and we'll hopefully see you soon. All right. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Yeah.
Laters.